Hello everyone and welcome to this video where I will give you a in-depth track guide of Le Mans on iRacing and tell you every little secret that the pros will not tell you. Okay, so starting the lap, crossing the start-finish line, what you want to do is you want to cut the straight to minimize the distance into turn 1. If you stay around the outside, that's just extra distance and adding time to your lap. A good reference for this for me is where the road color splits right here. I want to have my left side tires on it or about the middle of the car. Doesn't matter a whole lot, but as long as your car is somewhere around here, you'll gain about half a tenth to a tenth. So once you're here, you're going to want to straighten out and use all of the track limits, just going outside the white line. I do a slight lift into turn 1 with my lower downforce setup. If you are running more wing, you could get away with keeping this flat out. But this is more of just a safety thing, getting it rotated, keeping the rear planted. Turning in for turn 1, you want to turn in, but not too early, because if you touch the grass or get very close to it, you will get a slowdown. So I'm a little wide on this lap, but ideally you want to be about on the middle of this curbing going into turn 1. Once you get the car turned in, you want to straighten out, brake hard as possible. Use all of the track limits. About the grass is the track limits right here. Going into the chicane, the first part, the track limits is actually the gravel. If you cut the chicane and touch even an inch of the gravel, you will get a slowdown. And these sausages don't really affect the car, but I will say if you are slightly wide, I feel like maybe you can see it in this, but the curbs are raised, so you will get a bump and get spit out just a little bit and have a poor exit for turn 2. So just keep that in mind. You want to cut it fully without getting a track limit. It's very fine margins. Same things for turn 3. The white line is the track limits here. You want to fully cut it, as you can see I do here. These curbs, again, don't really affect the car. If anything, they help rotate it. Once you get the car rotated, you're going to want to get power down, carry the speed without getting wheel spin. The track limits here is this bollard, or track sign. Don't know really what that is. But you don't want to cross it. You can barely touch it or just miss it as I do. But that's the track limits and carry all the speed. Also, third gear corner in the McLaren, depending on the car, but third gear in the McLaren. Now for here, what you want to do is you have really two options here. Let's see if I can. So right here, let's see if I can mark it. So right here, there's a bump. You have two options. You can either have your left side tires on the gray bit and go this way and then just drive through it, or you can go on the outside like I do and just completely avoid the bump. It's personal preference, whatever you feel like doing. Coming up to the right-hander, what you're going to want to do is cut the track as much as you can here so you can get your car on the right side and maximize the exit to the next corner. Through here, you're going to want to get power down as soon as possible, as I do. Rotate it. Now you can use this curb here. There's a slight bump right here. You can use it to rotate the car. It's all personal preference and what your setup allows for. Some are more sketchy over the bump, some are less. All personal preference. You'll find out by driving. But through here, you want to carry as much speed as possible. You're going to want to mount over these curbs. Your left side tires should be about on the white line or just on the curbs. So after maximizing your exit on the last corner, you may get a slight snap of oversteer on this corner. You do not want to overcorrect and let your tires get on the grass, as you'll lose speed and it'll mess you up all the way down the straight and you'll lose tons of time. Ideally, if you want, you can use this bit of curb. Again, just don't go on the grass or you will lose time and possibly get an off track. For Tetra Rouge, I use this gray strip as a braking marker. I brake maybe 10-20%, if that, carrying the speed. This white line is the track limits, similar to the second part of the chicane. You want to get throttle down as early as possible through here. Carry all the speed as you can. Now, in previous seasons, you would never get an off track here. You were only bound for a slowdown. But in the new season, they changed it so the exit or this bit of curb is the off tracks. I will mark it out right here is the off track, not the gutter, the curb. Also on the exit here, you do not want your right side tires to be on the blue stuff. So if you do end up getting an off track, make sure you get your right side tires onto the curbing before coming off of it, or you will get a slowdown. Okay, so coming onto the back straight, what you're going to want to do is if you're in a GT3, place your car in the middle of the road where this white line is. It stalls the diffuser because the road is slightly raised and you get a higher top speed. Don't ask me why, that's just how it works in iRacing. Coming in for the first chicane, you can use every bit of road that there is available, even the shoulder right here. So what I do is I position the car all the way. I keep my right side tires just on the actual tarmac, and I use this orange Marshall stand as a braking marker. I brake maybe just past it, right where the guardrail is, right here. Braking third gear, you want to use as much of the inside curb as you can without putting your left side tires on the curb because that puts you at risk for a slowdown. Same thing here. Use as much as possible. A second dab of the brakes is helpful to get the car rotated. Keep your right side tires just over the curb. Don't let them touch it or else you will get a slowdown. Putting on power as soon as possible. You want to straighten the car out and carry all the speed. You can abuse the track limits here again. You just want to get off of it early. What I usually use as a reference is this guardrail. If you're off the curb about when you get to the guardrail, you should be good. But your main priority, you can find out from your own testing, but you should be getting off the curb early as possible, straightening out the exit, going towards the tires. Using all of the exit to carry the speed, because if you turn too early, you will scrub the tires and lose speed down the straight. And same thing, you'll see a common theme down the straights where you position your car in the middle to get the highest top speed, stalling the diffuser. Fast forwarding ahead, very similar to the first chicane. Using all the road to the right, keeping just your left tires on the tarmac. Braking just before the 100, you can see I start my braking at about these trees right here, just before the 100, whatever works best for you. Downshifting third gear, good trail braking. Again, you don't want your right side tires to be on the curb. The curbs are the track limits around here, or else you will get a slowdown. Especially this one, I would be safe. I would honestly leave about a tire width between your left side tires and the curb because you can easily get a slowdown on this curb. I have no clue why, but it's so much easier to get a slowdown on this curb. Same thing, straightening out the exit. Now, what you are going to be careful of is these curbings. It's very bumpy and it can very easily unsettle the car on exit and you'll lose a ton of speed down the straight. But if you can see about right here as I mark out, and right here, there are two dips. Right here is a big bump. You're going to want to either exit the curb right here or right here. Right here is a bit more sketchy because you are more prone to a slowdown if you don't get off at the right time. But either one works, whatever works for personal preference. Coming up to the hairpin, a good braking reference for this corner is these guardrails right here, where it opens for the marshals. You want to brake about then, at it just before. Really just depends on how confident you are on the brakes. Maximizing the track out to the cone. If you go past the cone, you will get a slowdown, but you will see people heading it not getting slowdowns. So that's perfectly fine too. The track does camber away over here, so I feel it unsettles the car when you rotate or when you're turning. So I just stay on this white line, but it's all personal preference. It's thousandths in lap time difference between using this extra bit of track and not. Again, rotating the car, trail braking in. These green bollards are the track limits. So if you just cut them, like ever so slightly cut them, like I am, you won't get a slowdown. But if you cut them any more than this, you will get a slowdown. So just in between where the bollards are and the different color track surface is where you'll get a slowdown. Getting a good exit, you want to maximize the track limits without touching the gravel, as it does slow you down. Just getting the power down without wheel spinning. Going down the straight, same thing, car in the middle. Coming through these little kinks, you can cut it. You don't want to touch the curb. Your right tires, if you do cut it, just be on these white dotted lines. Or since the track is still risen in the middle, you can ride it like I am. You don't have to cut it. It's again personal preference. So coming into Indy, this green bit of AstroTurf should be your braking reference. I brake it about in the middle of it, so halfway through it, just a slight tap on the brakes to get the weight to the front end and stabilize it for the right-hander. Cut as much of this part as you can. There is real no track limits. If you touch the grass, you will probably spin out, so just keep that in mind. Cut as much as you can, depending on the car and setup. Straighten the car out, maximum braking. You do want to have your right side tires just on this right red strip. No more. If you do more, you'll bottom out over the curb and it'll mess up your turn in for the left-hander. Getting the power down. This part is a bit tricky because if you go on the gravel, it doesn't necessarily slow you down, but you can get an off track. So there's a sweet spot where your tire is just between the curbs and the gravel. That works best for me, sort of like that. Maximize the track on the left, straighten out the car, very straight braking. You're going to want to avoid this curb while braking and turning, as it will unsettle you, and you'll just get a very poor exit. Also, this cone, if you hit it, that is a slowdown. You just want to be right in between it, and then start turning just after the curb, so you don't hit the curb and get a bad exit and unsettle the car. Also, just touching the curb. If you mount the curb, it'll unsettle the car again, and you'll get a bad exit. Exiting that corner, you do want to use all of the track yet again. If you go on the grass here, that is an off track, and if you go out too wide here, that's also an off track, about at the black barrier. So if you go past this point right here, that's usually an off track. Coming up to the right-hander, you do want to use all of the track again. Using the AstroTurf as a braking point, you want to have the car straight, because if you're turning while going over the AstroTurf, you will lose grip because there's less grip on it, and it'll mess up your whole Porsche curves. Get your braking done, slight trail braking. Slightly touch the curbs, helps with rotation, and set your car up on the right side better for the left-hander. Go out to the right side, set your car up well for here. You do want to use these curbs, again, it helps rotate the car. I do a slight confidence lift. Again, if you have a safer setup with more downforce, this can be flat out, this portion, but I do a slight confidence lift. Going up to this corner, right here on the entry, there is a bump. You want to avoid that. It'll unsettle the car and mess up your entry for the next corner. So just ever so slightly grazing these curbs. braking, getting the car rotated, carrying as much speed as possible, slightly touching these curbs as it can help with rotation, but it's a very fine thing to do and is not always perfect. But with most times with setups, it's just about carrying the most speed, as it's very sketchy on low wing. This left-hander, you can touch this little bit of grass right here. It helps gets the car rotated. No off track. Use as much of the track as you can. Use these curbs to help rotate the car, get the power down. With this corner, you get an off track if you are over the blue and yellow curbs. If you're over here, you will get a slowdown. You want to be very careful with this corner. If you get it right, you can gain a lot of time, but it's also very easy to get a slowdown. Right here, I find that if you cut right here, right on this curb, you can gain like 1,000th. It's very small, but it is noticeable. Straightens out the corner a whole lot, and you can carry more speed. Same with this one, very straight over it. After carrying the speed, you're going to want to use the pit entry. Have your left side tires just with the dotted white line. Brake, get it turned in. Don't go over this. Don't turn in late enough where you're hitting this curb. It will unsettle the car and you'll have understeer and not make the following corners. Fourth gear, again, the white line right here is the track limits. So you don't want to cut that. You will get a slowdown, but you want to cut as much as possible. Same thing here. White line track limits, cut as much as possible. I want to set the car up all the way to the right to get a good exit through here. I use this curb as a marker. If my tires are on the right side of this, that's good. Slight dab of the brakes. Be careful to get an off track here. White lines is the track limits. Cut the chicane. You want to use the red sausage curb just ever so slightly. You don't want to abuse it and get a slowdown, because you will get a slowdown if you abuse it. Now you just get the power down using all of the curb on exit, and that is a lap of Le Mans. I'll play the entire lap on screen now.